enter adulthood, you have daily and monthly expenses that you didn't have when you were a child or a teen. This session is about the different types of expenses adults have and why it's important to think about them so they don't pop up unexpectedly.
First, turn to Worksheet 1, Brainstorming Expenses, in your lesson packet, and make a list of all the monthly expenses you think you'll have when you live on your own. Be sure to include everything from housing to vehicles to basic personal care. We'll give you a little time to make your list. Now, write down how much you think each of those things will cost each month. You probably have things like rent, groceries, and maybe your phone bill on your list. But did you remember things like car insurance, gas, and the electric bill? This is Danny. Let's take a look at a breakdown of how much Danny pays to live in a one-bedroom apartment in Houghton while he goes to college. He pays $500 for rent, $100 for electric, $50 for gas, $30 for water, $20 for garbage, $50 for phone bill, $100 for his auto loan, $100 for his auto insurance, $200 for his groceries, $70 for gas and parking, and $30 for toiletries. All of his expenses add up to $1,350 per month. How close is that to what you wrote down? One way that Danny could save money is by not having a car and choosing to bike everywhere instead. That would save him about $270 a month, but he'd be awfully cold walking or biking to campus if it's negative 20 degrees out or snowing heavily. Another way Danny could save money is by sharing an apartment with a friend. If he rented a 2-bedroom apartment with a friend for $600 a month, he would only pay $300 for rent, and they would split all the other living expenses in half as well. In that case, he would save $400 per month. And if he and that roommate also carpooled to campus and split the cost of gas and parking, he could save $435 a month, which is almost 1/3 of his original living expenses.
That's why it's important to be aware of all these different living expenses now, rather than waiting until you're already locked into a rental agreement. They will help you make informed decisions when you do get your own place. You'll have control over some of your expenses, like choosing between sharing an apartment or living on your own, but there are some things you won't have any control over, like paying taxes or if your car suddenly breaks down. That's why it's very important to have a budget and be smart about the things you can control. There are all kinds of expenses you don't think about until you're out on your own, because you're used to your parents covering those for you. And that's okay. That's the point of this financial literacy course, to teach you about these things ahead of time, so you can be prepared when you leave the house. And if you're already living on your own, you might know some of this already, but I guarantee there'll be something in here that's helpful for you. Continue these lessons with Session 2, Savings and Checking Basics.